You are now listening to the EU Startups Podcast.
I'm very happy to be joined by Yves, the VP of Sales at Akidaia. Welcome, Yves.
Welcome, David. I'm really enjoying being here.
It's great to have you. So I was hoping that before we get into the questions, you could give me a small summary of what your company does, what innovation it's pushing forward, what technology it's presenting.
Yes, Akidaia, we are in the access control space. Okay, Aki is here, Dia is there. Yes.
Very good.
So means in the access control systems, usually people have an ID, and when they come to the door, they identify with this ID whether it's a card or a phone. This comes to a database, and this goes online, and this goes in many complicated things. We make it all simple. You have a box, you put it somewhere, no database, no connection. So you just go there, door opens. That's Akidaia.
That sounds simple. At what point do you feel that, whether we're talking about the founders or even as the technology was progressing, at what point was there that realization of access control, whether it's construction sites, whether it's industrial sites, security sites, at what point was there a realization that this needs to be addressed, that there's something here that isn't working as well as it should be?
Well, David, I've been in access control for 30 years and more. In the beginning, we had just a code. It was access control made simple, yes. Over these years, we had it more secure. We had it in direction of video, for biometrics, for complex IT security. This is much more complicated for installations. This is much more complicated for configuration, much more for cost. We want to make this simple. So we want to use technology to make it efficient, to make it cost-effective, and to make it much more easy for people to install and to use.
Well, one thing that interested me was the offline nature of your technology.
Correct.
And from a quick summary of what we did as to our coverage from this year, we rounded it around 137 million, went into companies that are working in the cloud space, AI space, security space. 137 million euros in funding went into these companies. What made you choose to not go down that route, especially since there is competition and there is money moving in that sector?
Technology is for innovation. The reason why we're working today with VINCI and VINCI is working for us is because innovation has to help people and not people spending time like you and I sometimes spend time to configure our computer. Okay, so we make things easy. We make things efficient. People on construction side, they have problems, but not because they want to have problems. They need to get the job done. And we help them to make the job done by being cost efficient and simple. We use high-end technology because we use token-based technology. And token-based technology makes for ages, for over 40 years, communication secure. So you don't need to go through a whole process of applying cybersecurity technologies and then chip technologies and then mobile technologies and to have all the knowledge in between. Any person on a construction website can have the mission to install something in 5 minutes without being bothered by high-end specialized technology. Technology is here to make things more efficient in a very, very environmental friendly world.
Sure. I mean, we're living in the age of AI, right? And it's impacted as much your industry as, say, journalism. It's impacted everything we live in. Does it kind of feel like maybe you're swimming against the current, a tide of technology? I mean, we have fridges that have AI now. You know, does it ever feel that maybe you're going against that trend?
Actually, it's the opposite. AI has to be inside the fridge, but you don't need to have to configure your TVs when you comes in your house. You don't need to configure your fridge because you like this brand or that brand. Coca-Cola, one who loves Coca-Cola, he doesn't want to have Pepsi, but he wants the fridge to know. Okay? Same here. Our product comes already configured. AI is here to know. Okay? AI is not here to be taught.
Yeah.
Okay? So make it easy.
Okay.
Make it cost efficient.
Well, and if you could, and I think this is valuable for me as anybody who's watching this episode, can you give me kind of a real world example where your technology works, where it helped? And, you know, maybe something down to earth, or really somebody who's coming to this without an understanding of secure access controls can really see, okay, that is Akidaia's value. That's how they helped.
Correct. Yesterday, David, I was in one of the largest ports, okay, in France. So I met with a whole group of people. So the security guy thought Akidaia was great because he could have something immediately within 5 minutes. He didn't need cables, okay? So he didn't need a special guy to configure it. So simple, efficient. The IT guy thought it was absolutely great because no database, so nothing to hack. Okay? No communication, so nothing to be aware of. The guy handling all the processes thought, oh, that's great. I can integrate this technology in all my user interfaces with all my system? Yes, because it's easy. So integrate it. Integrate it in your parking, integrate it in your warehouse, put it on your boats, okay? But put it temporarily if you wish, okay? For an event or for the army. We're providing stuff to the army because the army doesn't want to rely on third-party network, okay? And therefore, for the army, having something really secure on their servers, being able to install it on any harbor, and top of the top, the director managing all this was able to manage the cost. No surprise, no lines of specialists. He can use all tokens he wants. He can set so many. And in a big harbor, you have so many different companies. So being able for all these companies to send authorization to access to the same phone, to the same person, is so flexible that for the group, they were all so happy. Well, make it simple, David.
Sure. I think really what's interesting to me from what you're saying is how expansive and applicable the technology is. And even though in my intro I talked about construction, that's a theme that's tying all of my interviews today, what's interesting about your technology is the way it's expansive across many different applications. It's not just for one thing. I think that sets you up to really be able to, you know, just expand from where you are now, and sky's the limit in a real way. But we've talked about the positives. I kind of want to hear about the negatives now. And I don't mean what's bad about the technology, but I mean what are misconceptions people may have about it? What are doubts that you've heard clients express over your sales pitch?
That's an excellent question, okay? Because I have this all the time. People say, what? No database? No connection? No cloud? How does it work? So my answer to this is because you have a door and all you need is this door to know not who is accessing, but how can somebody access to. is it the right conditions? Yes, and specifically on a construction website, on a construction site, this is to be adapted at any moment. From the moment it starts to the moment where it ends, and you have so many time where you need to adapt. So on a construction site, you have a general software, general services, where maybe you want to forecast that a painting company will come for 6 weeks. So you might give access to this painter, or you might give to the company the possibility to give access. What we don't do, and that's coming back to your question, David, is when you have a finished building with all the wires, with all the concepts, with all the people, everything is already solved. You have building bridges with cybersecurity, IT, videos, HR, time and attendance, etc. That's whole system which is already installed. That's where we're not competing with. Yes, we're here to solve problems. We're here to avoid even problems before they show up. We're here to make this simple. And this is why people love us.
Right, so you would say then that you focus more on preventative application of your technology, is that right?
Because we're simple, we anticipate, yes, this problem because it's giving precise use cases. So we have a whole list. When we go, we say, okay, what's your business? What are you facing at you every day? So we can give all this example to help them. Okay, because the solution is that the technology needs to help people and not to be complicated and expensive.
Right.
We usually, people tell us that costs are half what they used to have, okay? Because there are so many lines you can just cancel. Wiring, a configuration, some tools to connect, some, I don't know, there are so many software you need to add. And by canceling all these lines, you divide the cost by 2.
What you've spoken about the way it costs, that you're reducing costs, the way you apply to different sectors. What has been a particular challenge in this journey? Whether it's something specific that you're finding on security sites, industrial sites, if there's perhaps maybe a type of tool or practice that's being used that you feel is kind of going against the technology you're trying to implement? Can you think of an example of something like that?
The hardest way is that people are really in this evolving industry, yes? And so you have industry standards and way to evaluate, okay? You have specific technologies, you have specific ways some people do things. And the fact to reduce all these factors, the fact to make it simple, makes it kind of difficult to say, is it really possible? And it's not a miracle. It's just technology. It's just this token, this box sent by a trusted sender somewhere to a trusted receiver. What we have is that you can integrate it in any user interface and you can define rights, conditions. Is it the right time between 9 and 11? Is it the right day? Is it the right place? Do you want a one-time ticket? When a parcel comes to my door, okay, I just see a guy delivering a parcel. My wife sees a parcel from Amazon and she knows what's inside. She's the trusted receiver, yes? I only know there's a parcel coming through, yes? So we can send this token, we can send all these conditions to a phone, the phone can send it to a card, the card can send it to a specific door or choose another door, okay? Because the trusted receiver sees what's in the Amazon parcel. And that's the whole difference.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, and we just kind of go back a little bit to the beginning of the technology. I've read some of your marketing materials, and there's phrases I use such as 100% made in France, environmentally sustainable. So there's these kind of moral codes that you're applying from the very beginning. And that is my question, actually. Was this present from the very beginning of the technology, or has that been a response to client needs, market wants?
So you have a global view of purely technology, and token-based technology has been used in all around the world for the last 40 years, right? But it was really important for us to be French and more EU-based, yes? Because nowadays we have seen in the last 2 years some, let's say, questions, okay? And I'm not talking here just about airplanes, yes? We're talking about so many possible changes, and sometimes brutal changes. So when we build an energy plant, when we work for an airport, when we build data centers, when we are in tunnels, like we are in the subway tunnel, yes. When we talk to the army, of course, we want to know that we are our master in our house, yes. We don't want to be surprised in 5 or 10 years. So we want to have our own technology, our own servers. We use European-based tools, AI, etc. But because it's simple, we can apply it on a global scale.
And the environmentally sustainable, can you give me a little bit of an insight as to what that means for you as a tech company?
There are so many ways. Number one, when you are in a tunnel or on a motorway and you reduce by 10 the long cables you need to normally to install. That's obvious, not only copper, but problems for digging and plastic around it, etc. When you don't have the electronic to connect, you avoid restructuring in the future for electronics, yes? Today, half of installation are not new installation. They are replacement of what has been done through the last 30 years. And we discover so many things, so many messes. And all this is really difficult to replace. And last but not least, the time of people, the consumption of energy when you are online. So in basically every part of possible notion of sustainable things, of not consuming material, space, energy, time. Standalone, not connected is the obvious thing.
Okay. Well, we're definitely going to keep an eye on you from EU Startups. You seem to be doing interesting work. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Yves.
Thank you, David.
Thanks.